Mic check, mic check. What's the word, good people? Grand rising to all. Hopefully, everybody's having an amazing start to their day. We're on, it's Thursday. It's Thursday. Yeah, we were moving around a little bit yesterday. So we said, you know what? We'll move it to Thursday AM, and then we'll still see y'all tomorrow AM, rather than rushing around and starting late. So hopefully, everybody is well. We're going to talk about, well, we're going to have a little bit of a shorter show, but we're going to have a full show. And we're not really reviewing. I don't think we'll end up reviewing anything. There's a couple videos that discuss some of the things that we're going to be talking about. But I think this show is more so for us to just unpack it ourselves. I think we're just going to unpack it with conversations, this concept that we're going to be discussing of quantum manifestation. We're also going to be discussing what else we got on here. Yeah, mostly on quantum manifestation. We're going to relate it to the Bible, actually, because I don't know about y'all, but when it comes to prayer, what I was reading in the Bible yesterday is a lot different than how I was taught. I don't even know if I was taught, but how I was led to believe that prayer works. And for all the people that, take hold a lot of value, or believe the Bible holds a lot of value, and spiritual teachings and all of those things, the Bible is actually saying these things. The Bible is discussing quantum manifestation. The Bible is discussing a lot of the things that we talk about on a day-to-day basis, as far as, we have to program our subconscious. We have to do better than just believing that something will occur. We have to do better than just focusing on, I want something. But we have to transform and get over that hump and eventually move into that I know. And when you know, what do we always talk about? We begin to expect certain outcomes, certain results, certain opportunities to come our way. So we're going to discuss all those things. But first and foremost, as we always do, shout out to the big bro, Finn. Shout out to big bro, always coming through with the wise words and alignment. That's another thing that we're going to talk about today. Alignment and attraction. Two things that probably dictate the reality that we will create and manifest for ourselves, maybe more than anything. Alignment and attraction. All right. Miracles may simply be manifestations of deeper laws we do not yet understand. One more time. Miracles may simply be manifestations of deeper laws we do not yet understand. Hold on. I got to look this one up, because big bro, you always on board with it. You're always on board with it. But yeah, and we gotta actually go back and check out a bit of more of that Michael Talbot interview that we were watching about the world being a hologram, all these. And what's amazing about it is now my algorithm is introducing me to other people. I'll tell you somebody who I just ran into. Let me bring it up for you. This was one of those videos that I said, like, hey, we may get into it, maybe, may not. But this guy, are you guys familiar with David Bayer? So David Bayer, and he looks familiar. He looks familiar. Real quick, I'll share the screen with y'all. Let me share the screen with y'all. Because his old version of him, the younger version of him, the younger version of him looks familiar to me. So are you guys familiar with this guy right here? David Bayer. So listening to the Michael Talbot, y'all know I always listen to Napoleon Hill. You guys have now introduced me to Alan Watts, all these different people that talk about these same things, these same theories that Napoleon Hill was talking about, that Neville Goddard was talking about. I believe he was referring it as the fourth dimension, the same thing that my buddy Ye was talking about when it comes to the deliberate creator, the same thing that I'm reading right now in As a Man Thinketh with James Allen. All of these books, The Secret, all of these things are the same thing. And you know what's wild? I used to hear all the time that, or not, I don't want to say all the time, but I remember somebody telling me that people believe that the spirit or the secret was the actual Bible. And it was kind of said in a joking way, but all of these different things that I'm learning, and now what we're going to do today, which is connecting it to the Bible and connecting it to some of the principles in the Bible that we may not be looking at or haven't looked at in the past, the aligned way or the proper way in order to bring about some of the things that we want to manifest. It's all connected. It's all telling us the same things. And these are all things that I believe that the system or whatever powers that be are intentionally not teaching us. When we think about what the education system was or is, when we think about John D. Rockefeller and certain things that he said when he was working with the Board of Education, how he's not trying to create thinkers, he's trying to build workers. Our entire society, we may not look at it the same way, but you know what our society is? Let me bring up a video. You know what it reminds me of? Those ancient Egypt videos, ancient Egypt, slavery, cartoon video. Let me bring this up because I'm pretty sure you guys have seen something like this. Have you ever seen like the videos where it's all the people in Egypt they're showing and they're doing the same things and they're all working as slaves and they're usually pulling something, building something, and it's a bunch of slaves working. I can find a video image. That seems like some Watchers type stuff. Um, if you're familiar with the Book of Enoch, let me see. Will it show it? I don't see anything. Let me see if I can find a picture. You got to use a picture. Ancient Egypt, slavery. Let me see if I can find an image. I'm not finding anything. Have you ever seen the movie? Oh my God. It's Apocalypto? Almost in that, like that kind of when they're all slaves and they're capturing the slaves. That's the type of energy. And when it comes to that, I don't know why we look at society any differently. Current society. Society structures with all these empires have always been built on the same thing. We need people beneath us to work for us and to keep us in the powerful position that we're currently in. It was never about, oh, we need to free these people's minds. We need to free these people. No, it's how can we make these people work for us? How can we make these people contribute to us having more power, more wealth, more influence, and them never wanting to feel that they want to take over our position? That's the protection aspect to it, right? We want to stay in power. And for us to stay in power, we need to make sure that those people never want to stay in power. So it's almost like when you enslave people with chains and shackles, people know that they're enslaved, right? We can understand that. But then when you move it to a point where people have removed the chains and shackles and people are just competing now, right? A lot of people feel like, oh man, I'm working I can't afford life right now. I can't afford to live. And you're spending your entire day usually funding somebody else's or building somebody else's dream, working for somebody else. And all of this power seems to filter through the top. It's a pyramid, right? With all the power, all the wealth, all the work that everybody on the bottom is doing seems to be manifesting the goals, the dreams, the desires of everybody at the top. And we buy into this. Shout out to Uluwehi in the building. All right, hold up. See, Big Bro Finn is always tapping in with the proper and aligned quotes. So you're familiar with David Bear, Finn. It's not what you do, but who you become that determines the impact, influence, and income you ultimately create. It's not what you do, but who you become. And this is the main concept when it comes to a lot of the manifesting. You manifest things based on who you are. You manifest things based on the things that you're deepest emotionally attached to. Now, that can be a negative thing. That can be a positive thing. Now, a lot of times, specifically when it comes to prayer, as we were going to talk about, how do we manifest? We're not focusing on manifesting. A lot of times, think about how the normal person prays. Think about how the normal person prays. Oh, I pray that um, dear God, Heavenly Father, whatever people are saying, there's a sickness in my family, or sickness by a member of my family has a sickness. We're really praying that we can get rid of this cancer, that we could. You focus so much on the actual sickness, focusing so much on the actual cancer. It's going against how the Bible tells you to pray. And we're going to go through the scriptures. But let me just kind of skim over a little bit. And the scriptures are not telling us to pray like that. The scriptures are telling us to pray as if everything that we're asking for, that we already have. Have no doubt, have no anxiety. Now, when I just went over that way of how we typically pray, does that sound like somebody that doesn't have any anxiety? Does that sound like somebody that what they're declaring or what they're asking for is already being delivered to them? And that's why gratitude plays such a huge role in all this stuff. Because when you say more and you focus more on being grateful for a body that heals itself, I'm so grateful that this sickness is being healed. I'm so grateful that our body, our spirit, the way that it works to heal itself is ridding such and such's body of this cancer that they have, this sickness. We don't look at it like that. And then perhaps we wonder why we don't get certain results. And for me, it's an accountability thing. And for me, it's also going back to the John D. Rockefeller, because perhaps, once again, even though we prioritize and hold people on a certain pedestal, especially when it comes to a lot of our spiritual leaders or religious leaders, perhaps they want to be needed more rather than to free somebody else or empower somebody else to understand that, hey, you don't need to be asking for certain things. You need to be declaring and expecting certain things, and to be moving and assuming a role that you are already that thing that you're looking to attract. You want to be wealthy? Move through the world, move through life, move through society as if you're already wealthy. Move through society and take actions, because obviously it's not enough to just think, right? But when you start to move as if you're wealthy, then you're going to do what wealthy people do. If you want to create that dream body that you've always, had in your mind, become that person. And when you become that person, maybe then it'll be a bit easier to eat what that person would eat, to work out the way that that person will work out, because you've already been programmed that I am that person. So therefore, the energy is not only serving your purpose as far as dictating your actions to be more aligned with the things that you're trying to manifest, but it's also going to put that energy out to the rest of the world. And there's also a concept that was centered around attraction that I was listening to when it came to Michael Bear. And I didn't even get into this video, but it reminded me of some of the previous things that I learned, or that thoughts that had come to mind, because, hey, this is just my opinion. So I don't want to say, oh, I learned this. I'm learning these things, but some of the stuff is just based on opinion and us just using our minds. But when it comes to attracting, there was this concept that everything that we wants us, right? The things that we want us. Like, we're attracted to the same things. If we're attracted to something, that those things want us as well. However, where we sometimes fall short of is by prioritizing the fears, the anxieties, the stress around not having them, the what ifs, right? When fear takes over. When we want one thing, but we're so fearful of it not happening that we spend more time thinking on the outcomes that may not be the desired outcome. So we're focusing more so on those things and pushing that out to the energy. And our subconscious, our programming doesn't work to differentiate between, oh, even though I'm focusing more on that, I'm telling my subconscious that I don't want those things. Hence why we've perhaps taking a break from politics. When you spend all day talking about the things that you don't want to happen, how this is corrupt, that's corrupt, that's corrupt, it's almost like you're engaging in the fight. You're engaging in the arena. You can't have a fight. What would happen in a boxing match And now I'm going a little bit on a tangent, so I'll bring it right back. But these are just the kind of the free flowing thoughts that come to mind. But what would happen if there was a boxing match, right? Recently, Floyd Mayweather and Pacquiao, they're getting ready to fight again, right? But Floyd was saying that he doesn't want it to be an actual boxing match. He wants it to be an exhibition. So if Floyd decides not to fight, what will they do with the event? There will be no event. But if Floyd decides to fight, then you're going to have two people fill, and it's going to fill the arena. There's going to be a whole bunch of people that want Floyd to win, that want Floyd to lose, a whole bunch of people that want Manny to win, Manny to lose. But either way, they're supporting the event. So that's the same thing that was kind of more so on my mind with politics. Now, obviously, I'm always conflicted because it's like, well, damn, if you don't speak up on these things, how are they going to ever be addressed? How are they going to, change? But I just feel that we're in a time period where the war that we're fighting is an energy war. The war that we're fighting is an energy war, because then when people start to indulge and engage in all these political conversations, what ends up happening is we start to pick sides, and we're only presented with two choices, right? Two sides. So one side picks, we align with this on this particular issue, we align with this on this particular issue, and then the other 20 crazy issues that side is aligned with, that you only align with them on one, that stuff gets pushed. So I know I'm going on a tangent. We're gonna bring it right back. But I was just talking about how what we focus on ultimately grows. This is the same concept that Mama Lay always discusses. So even if we're focusing on improving something that's so terrible, when we focus on the so terrible thing, what does the universe think that we're like? What is the universe going to bring our way? Right? Our brains work as signals, or send off certain signals as radio frequencies, however you want to look at it. All right, so let me stop talking. Let me finish up with catching up with some of these comments. So Big Bro Finn wrote, the frequency you operate on shapes what you attract, what you tolerate, and what you become. Elevating your energy is not spiritual theater. It is conscious alignment. 100% agree. We're in a frequency battle. And it seems like that's all life is. And everything in life, when we think about it, is so perspective based anyway. So and why I bring that up is because there's some days where I may wake up in a good mood. There's some days where I may wake up in a not so good mood. There's some days where I may be more grateful and enjoying certain things, and the next day be not appreciative of those things. And it's all just a perspective. So no matter, and the reason why I bring this up is because if we wake up with certain gratitude, appreciation, how are we going to go throughout the day? How are we going to approach certain things that we want to manifest? Everything is going to be based on, oh, I'm grateful for this beautiful home. I'm grateful for this beautiful car. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for all those things. And all of those things are going to compound. All of those things are going to be the things that then end up growing exponentially. Rather than focusing on the things that, if we have a negative perspective, oh my God, like I'm stressed out every time I open up my Chase app. I'm stressed out every time I'm thinking about all these bills I got to pay. I'm stressed out thinking, if we have those negative things, that's when we start to snowball into the negativity. That's when all of those things start to grow. That's when we have those conversations that we were having last week with my homegirl Keisha at the restaurant, where she's talking about everything negative just keeps happening to me. Oh my God, everything is just bad stuff just happens to me. If we flip it, and matter of fact, for all those people that do think that bad things just happen to them, maybe you have such a strong attraction, such a strong manifesting energy. Imagine if you were to flip and truly believe and start to expect, just like you expect all those negative things to happen and they end up happening. Imagine just flipping it. Those would be some of the most powerful manifestors around. So, all right, let's get into some of these. Hold on. Catch up with these. Quantum entanglement hints that separation may be an illusion. Across distance, particles remain connected. Maybe consciousness works the same way. Maybe we do too. It's a good point. Quantum entanglement hints that separation may be an illusion. These are some of the things that we were talking about last week. Across distance, particles remain connected, that everything is actually connected. So we think that something's just responding to that B is responding to A, but really A and B may actually just be connected, but it's just our perspective and how we're seeing things. Maybe consciousness works the same way. Maybe we do too. These are all, and by the way, these are things that I'm just learning. So, and exploring is probably the right way to look at it. Shout out to Uluwehi in the building. I hate this crazy thought. Hey, Bubbles, what about it if just gratitude, but remember to enjoy, even if it's little? Yeah, yeah. And I'm not sure that I'm totally understanding what you're expressing, Uluwehi, but when it comes to gratitude and enjoying, yeah, the things that we enjoy, that's also a form of manifesting. When we're enjoying certain things and embracing those things, then yeah, and showing gratitude for it, I think that we're also inviting that similar energy back our way. Shout out to Bubbles in the building. Nah, you're not late. You're not late. So just learning to remember to enjoy. I like that. Enjoy this day, to this chat, wherever we are, just appreciating where we are. And what's so funny in life is that we're always looking for the next one. We're always looking for the next thing. As soon as we get what we prayed and hoped for and said, like, oh my God, I can't wait till I get this car. I can't wait until I move into this spot. I can't wait till we get. And then when you get there, it's like we don't even appreciate it. Now we're so fixated on, well, if I could get to here, now I can get there. Appreciate where we are. Nothing wrong with that. Matter of fact, there's something wrong with not doing that. The best way to get to the next level is to perhaps appreciate the growth that you've acquired with the current level that you're at, that one day or that in a previous day you used to look at and strive to get to. So let's see. Your ability to control your thoughts is your greatest strength. That is a fact. That is a fact. Let's see. Let's see. Politics equals all lies. You know what's so funny? So we were at another tangent. Sorry, but we were having a conversation. We're working on a project in Jersey, and we were having a conversation about like just politics in general. And somebody who was there in the conversation, they knew a lot of politicians. And when you go through we were just having like a political conversation and going through everything, everybody from like local folk to people that are on the bigger stage when we think about politics. And it's just, it's almost as if we think that we can be in a space where we're breathing in all of this polluted air, but that's not going to impact our body. That's what it seems like with a lot of our politicians. Everybody seems corrupt. It's thinking that you can play in the mud and not get dirty. That's just what it is. Like I'm just so, like, I have no, every day that goes by, it just seems like I'm less and less interested in politics. I think the entire play is just based on having less, almost a less than mentality. And the reason why I say less than mentality, because it's people that are just fighting over resources and approaching it from a standpoint as if those resources are limited rather than in abundance. So yeah, just how I'm looking at it. Just how I'm looking at it. Big Bro said, personally, I'm loving this energy shift. I've been in a much better mood since we've pivoted. And this is the thing. I was, you know what's so funny? Big Bro, we're aligned, but I was talking to Maya last night, and things are just moving in a positive direction right now. And certain things that if we have to be able to read our energy. I think we have to always be able to do audits on how we're feeling, how we're thinking, the energy that we're putting out, the energy that we're absorbing, the information that we're putting out, the information that we're consuming. I think we have to be very, I don't want to say not necessarily critical, maybe constructively critical of ourselves, but just understanding where we are and being able to pivot. Being able to pivot, because the things that may have presented themselves to me, let's say the different challenges that may have presented themselves to me over the last couple of weeks, because over the last couple of weeks, certain things have happened where I know that if I didn't show a certain amount of growth with my outlook on it and perspective on it, it would have just put me in a very stressful and anxious position. Certain things over the last couple months that have happened. And me now sitting back and saying, like, damn, if I was still maybe spending so much time reviewing even Nick's videos, and I enjoy certain aspects of it, but you can enjoy something or think that you're enjoying something or confuse engagement with enjoyment, because I was engaged maybe for certain reasons, because I was in it, whatever, maybe even the aspects of, making money off of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, boom, everything just seems to be aligned. But if we're not able to pull ourselves out of that or realize, like, damn, like me being so consumed with that, me being consumed with just where I think the stress that comes about when I think about what's going on in the Middle East, the different politics and the direction that the country's moving in, all these different stresses, it would have been very hard to go through those last month and a half, 2 months of challenges with all of those other things weighing on me and dictating how I wake up and how my spirit is and how I'm feeling and how I'm approaching the day. It's very hard to be positive when all you're doing is discussing something that's negative. My young boy, who I'm going to bring on the show one day, my young boy Colin is probably the closest thing that I have to how can I put this? I would say like a child, but like one of my kids. I'm not at all like that, and more like a little brother. But he's the closest thing to, all right. So the dopest thing about, in my opinion, that I can't wait for when I become a parent is that you get to see you molding like directly the impact that I pushed on this kid or the influence that I had on this particular child of mine, and you get to see how that child grows. It's almost like planting, right? A garden. That's, to me, is one of the dopest things about when I've planted tomatoes and stuff and all. You get to take a seed and nurture it and then see exactly based on how I'm nurturing this seed, I get to see the outcome. There's no blaming somebody else. There's no blaming, oh, well, the sun or the rain. No, it's how I take care of this plant. We're going to see how this grows. And it's the same thing with the child. So when it comes to Colin, my young boy, this is somebody that I took under the wing when he was probably about like 12, 13 years old, never played football. And at that age, I was probably like 23, 24. And he just became my mentee. I was his coach. I was coaching him and stuff in football, and just it ended up being more so about life than sports. And he called me yesterday, and he'll call me a few times a week just to check on me. And he called me yesterday, and he's like, yo. And I was like, I missed his previous call, and because I was on the call, and I was like, I'll call you right back. And I was like, yo, my bad, I missed your call, because I was already supposed to return a call of his. And he says, nah, I'm just checking on you. He said, look, I'm watching all your videos. I'm seeing the shift. I'm happy because, even though I believe that you're approaching these things, he said, even though I know that you're approaching politics or all these other things from a positive standpoint, when you're discussing all those negative things, then you're going to be absorbing a whole bunch of negative energy. And if you're not making sure that you're outside getting grounded, putting your feet in the dirt, he started like having this convo with me, like really just checking me and just making sure, like, hey, if you're going to discuss all these things, then you need to make sure that your spirit is right. You need to make sure that your mindset is right, that you have a positive outlook on all these different things. And I just sat back and I was just like, yeah, that's my young boy. But I don't even know why I went off on that story, but just to kind of nail down the point, even further as far as what we're focusing on, our energy towards certain things. It's going to dictate a lot of the reality that we create for ourselves. And it's going to be very hard for us to focus on negative things. And when we are focusing on those negative things, like Big Bro Finn may realize, we don't even really realize how much it's impacting us and how deep in that direction we're moving in, just because we think that we may be fighting this righteous battle, fighting this good versus evil battle. It almost gets to a point where it's like, yo, you're still supporting the event. You're still supporting the event, whether you think you're on the fight of good, or on the side of good, or you think that you're on the side of evil. You're still supporting the fight, and we don't need to be fighting. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of the thoughts. And I'm not, once again, I'm still conflicted when it comes to this stuff. So that's why I said, taking off not focusing on politics right now, because I don't know where the journey will take us next week, next month, next year, whatever it is. Let's see. Uluwe, he said, once you apply quantum mechanics to everything, the entire world opens up. That's exactly how I feel. That's exactly how I feel. Matter of fact, it's more than a feeling. It's almost like I'm just seeing it. Like it's clear now. It's like, oh, okay. It's not even a feeling of, oh, I think I'm feeling that way. No, it's more of an understanding and acceptance. That's what I'm gearing towards. All right, let's see. Big Bro Finn said, I have a great quote about parenting, Dak. Everyone has a game plan until they get punched in the face. Shout out to Mike Tyson. Shout out to Mike Tyson. This is it, big bro. We're still in the fight. We just switched up the strategy. That's all. That's because, and this is what we always talk about. What's on the table, what's off the table, right? What are you willing to give up? What are you willing to try in order to create that desired goal? In order to bring that desired goal to fruition, what are we willing to try? We've tried arguing about politics and being on the good side, and what do you end up? What ends up happening? You could think that you're 100% on the good side in one particular area, so you align with this group. And even if you don't fully align with the group, but you could only align, you only got a couple different options, right? So you align with this group, and then you realize that they just do the same thing that you were supporting them to go against. They end up doing what you were going against. So it's just a real, and then, oh, wait, well, no, this guy wasn't the one. Let's put hope in the next person. Let's put hope in the next person. And we end up constantly trying that approach rather than just sitting back and saying, you know what? Maybe we just won't engage. Maybe if people weren't as invested in politics and thinking about politics all day, if we weren't watching the news all day, if we weren't consumed and engulfed by all of these negative thoughts that come to our mind, the propaganda, maybe if we weren't focusing on those things, the energy in our actual lives wouldn't match the energy that we're seeing on the news. Because what ends up happening? We'll see certain things that happen on the news, and then we'll think that now everything in our personal lives that occur, it's directly related to politics. Everything, it almost takes over our actual relationships. Oh, you voted for this person? Oh, you voted for Trump? Oh, you voted for Kamala? And that dictates everything else about our relationship with a particular person. So now us just moving around in life, moving around in society, I don't think that most people would say that when the Democrats and Republicans are fighting hard against each other, right? Fighting hard on polarizing opposite ends of the spectrum. I think that most people, when we walk around, depending on where you are, you can feel that. You can feel that energy in the air. You can feel everything being on pins and needles. You can feel people having certain conversations. When it comes to Israel and Palestine, you can feel something in the air impacting us. So when it comes to those things that we're feeling, I think that that's shaping reality more than we give it credit for. So now if we're not engaging in those things, imagine if the majority of us were just like those dumb politicians. All they try to do is get us to hate each other, so therefore they can push whatever agenda that they don't care about, but they're just using a particular agenda to keep a certain amount of power. Oh, this group needs it. What does this group need? It's almost like I'm trying to sell you something. I'm going to figure out what's your biggest pain point, and I'm just going to lean into that. For some people, it may be gas mileage. Oh, they want a lot of gas mileage? Maybe we should look at a hybrid. Maybe we should look at a hybrid. Oh, this person just cares about speed? Oh, boom. Yo, we got this V8 engine. So that's all politicians do. They just figure out what is this person's biggest pain point that is going to get them emotionally involved in order to give them my support, because they're going to see me as somebody that can fight for the things that they want to happen, or against certain things that they don't want to happen. That's all it is. So if we took a step back and said, yeah, I'm not getting involved with that, we'd be able to have more common sense conversations rather than have radical arguments. Because most of the things that we argue, we're arguing for this person versus that person, and we're arguing for the things that we don't even agree on, but we justify based on the other side's approach in that particular area being just too radical. So it's not even that I'm believing in certain things, let's say that the Democrats or the Republicans or whoever I'm supporting, it's not even that. The most of the arguments are over the things that, well, yeah, what my candidate is pushing, yeah, this is stupid, but it's not as stupid as what your candidate is pushing. And now we're just accepting stupidity. So take a step back. And when we don't feel like we have to be fanatical and rooting for a particular group, or just even engage in a lot of this silliness, then I think we just will realize that, yo, we actually see this thing the same way 90% of it. We actually agree on most of this stuff, but we feel, because of the other stuff that we really don't agree on and that we don't even really feel that confident in, that my candidate's pushing. But now I end up spending more time trying to validate why it's okay for me to push this type of extremism that my candidate's pushing, rather than just say like, nah, I don't agree with that, because it's more fanatical. So let's, I want to get into some of these scriptures. I'll share the screen on some of these scriptures. Should I play a little bit? Let me play a little bit of this video from David Bear. Actually, I wasn't going to play it, but let me play a little bit of this. I've been talking y'all heads off, so give y'all a little break if I can find it. Hold on. Like I said, I wasn't going to play it, but we'll take a look at it. All right.
As though what you've asked for is already done. That prayer, quality, and begging for what we were meant to command. Because
all right.
About money, about yourself, about relationships, about your body, about your capacity to heal. Because think about it for a second. You can decide to make $1 million, but if you've also decided money's hard to make, or it's for other people, or you have to sacrifice the things that you love and care about in order to make money, right? Those are your belief systems. You probably ain't going to make a lot of money. And so what I see, and I know from my own lived experience, and I'm sure there are times when I still do it. Again, I'm on the journey with you, is that most of us are begging for what we were meant to command.
That's we're begging and approaching something from a standpoint of needing this. I need this. And this is where we hear that concept of just letting go. Just letting go. When we feel like we need something, we're putting so much stress and anxiety into the equation, and we're more so focusing on, think about the things that you really need. When you say that you really need something, what is the main focus? I know for me, when I focus on the things that I really need, my main focus is on, well, what if I don't get them? Why do I need them? Why do I need this particular life? Why do I need this thing to happen? Because I'm so fixated on what life will be or what will happen if that doesn't happen. You get what I'm saying? So now I'm really operating out of fear and operating out of limitation and operating out of scarcity. It's a scarcity mindset. When I say I need $100, I need this, because now I'm so focused on the stress, the fear, the anxiety based on if I don't get it. So where's most of my energy going towards? Rather than just commanding it and moving as if I know that that's going to happen and expecting it to just come.
Because most people don't understand how to manifest. Most people don't understand that you have been given the right to command reality. And instead, you think that you need to negotiate with reality.
Go back to that. Most people don't understand that you have been given the right to command reality. This is, and I was looking up the definition of free will. This is how I think about free will: the ability to decide, choice. This is free will. We have been given the right to command reality. And if we're living in a reality that doesn't sit well with us right now, embrace that and embrace the fact that, hey, perhaps there's certain things that I've been doing to create this current reality that I'm living in. Manifestation gives us it empowers us. Now, people may run from this because with any power, right, comes accountability. So there has to be a certain level of accountability first and foremost to say, hey, where I currently am is based on the energy that I'm putting out, not what this person did to me or what that person did to me or what this stuff just happens negative to me. No, it's based on the energy that I'm putting out. But the beauty in accepting the accountability is with the accountability comes the power to now say, oh, you telling me that I'm responsible for this effed up situation that I'm in? So if I'm responsible for putting myself in this effed up situation, that means that I can be responsible and I can empower myself to get out of this situation and to move towards this positive situation. But we have to accept the power with the accountability.
And instead, you think that you need to negotiate with reality, that you need to beg reality, that you need to find a way to get reality to conform to what you want. In a similar way, most people don't understand that prayer done properly is really a command. It is an assumption of the outcome that you want. Because prayer is the act of speaking as though what you've asked for is already done. Scripture gives us guidance in proper prayer. Right? Whatsoever things ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them and ye shall have them. Mark 11.
I want to take a look at that. First off, everything that he was just dropping was like gems. Like maybe just go back 30 seconds if y'all want later on. Everything that he just said. Matter of fact, we're going to go back 30 seconds. Listen to what he's saying.
Assumption of the outcome that you want. Because prayer is the act of speaking as though what you've asked for is already done.
Prayer is the act of speaking as if what you're asking for is already done. What does that do? If the things that we're asking for, we have the mindset that they're already done, what does that do to us? It takes away all the stress, all the anxiety. We typically worry about, well, what if it doesn't go as planned? I'm hoping for it to go this way. That's why the higher you climb, the closer you get to your goals in a lot of areas. If you've ever experienced like really going after something and you're close to achieving a dream, the level of stress and anxiety that grows as you get closer and closer to that dream becoming maybe a reality, kind of coming to fruition, it compounds. It compounds. The level of, I'm telling y'all, I've been there. And you will, and that's why when sometimes people, you get to reaching your dream and you're not really a pleasant person to be around. You know, you get to, I know even in my personal life, the stress that I had trying to make a team whenever it came down to training camp, When it was almost time to go to training camp, I could barely contain the level of stress and anxiety that I was having. And that impacts my relationships. That impacts how I respond to certain things, how short I may be, you know, with certain stuff, my fuse, all these different things. It's impacting me. And it's because, this level of stress, like I could, within a matter of 30 days, I could either be living my dream or I could be living my nightmare. So what am I going to focus more so on? Well, the dream, if that happens, right? If that happens, I'm now my elevated mindset would say when that happens, but I'm just recapping. If that happens, the dream happens, then nothing to worry about. That's all love. But if that happens, the negative, and I'm living in that nightmare, damn, what are people going to say? Damn, what am I going to do for work? Damn, where am I going to live? Shoot, I just signed this new lease. Damn, I got to go get a job. Like, shit. Dang, all these people I told that I was, and now they're going to be looking at, man, I can. And you start to focus so much on that stuff, and the universe and energy rewards what we focus on. What we focus on grows. So the entire point, in my opinion, based on how I'm interpreting it, the entire point around accepting it and treating it as if it's already done, everything that I'm asking for, I have to move as if it's already on its way. Because then I can remove all the stress and anxiety that's going to force me to fixate on if it doesn't happen. Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Scripture gives us guidance in proper prayer. Right? Whatsoever things ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. Mark 11.
Let's take a look at Mark 11. Let's take a look at Mark 11. For verily I say unto you, that whosoever shall say unto this mountain, be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he saith shall come to pass, he shall have whatsoever he saith. Therefore I say unto you, what things soever that ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. That's not what I don't think that that's shaping how a lot of people are praying. And perhaps it's just a little bit of a change. It's just a little bit of a shift. But I think that the greatest part of the prayer is the thing that we're focusing on the least. Anybody can ask a question or ask for something, but it takes somebody to have true faith. Maybe that's where the faith aspect comes in. To know, everything that I'm asking, I'm just declaring. Everything in this universe, there are endless opportunities. If I truly believe that, and aren't there certain quotes that say this in the scriptures in the Bible? I can do all things, right? So if somebody really believes that they can do all things, then if I'm putting something out to the universe, I'm really just choosing. And this is where the decision aspect comes in. I'm really just making a choice. Do I want to be unhealthy or do I want to be healthy? It's my choice. Do I want to be wealthy or do I want to live in poverty? It's a decision. And it's a decision because that decision then dictates action. And when you combine action with expectations, that's when things become manifested. That's just what the scripture's saying. And it's what Neville Goddard, Napoleon Hill, it's what a lot of other people, Michael Talbot, was it Michael Talbot? Yeah, Michael Talbot, David Bayer, they're all saying the same thing. This is what The Secret says. This is what James Allen is saying. Danye Kamal is saying. Like it's all being based on the same things. And I think if we just observe our life the things that we were most confident about, the things that we just knew were going to happen when we had positive thoughts around it, they typically end up happening. But then when we focus on being so fearful of the negative happening, that actually comes to fruition. Let's hold on, let's keep going. Go and pivot a little bit. Shout out to Shy in the building. Shout out to Shy. Let's keep going.
The tense is present. Believe that you receive, not that you will receive in the future. In James 1:6, but when you ask, you must believe and not doubt. It's all in the book.
But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt. Let's go to James 1:6. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea driven with the wind and tossed. Ask in faith. Ask as if you know that it's going to already happen. And if you can't ask, then maybe that's something to fixate on. If I can't confidently ask for something, why can't I confidently ask for something? Maybe it's because I haven't been taking necessary actions that align with the things that I'm asking for. And then you just figured out, hey, oh, boom. All right, this is something that I need to work on in order to bring about the things that I'm desiring. So now when I put the actions, and now the actions are going to make me more confident. So now the things that I'm declaring, not even asking for, the things that I'm declaring, I got the actions that are aligned with it. I got the confidence. So now I'm not even worried about if it doesn't happen. No, it's going to happen because I understand how all this works. How can I not be successful? How can I not be successful if I'm putting in the work and if I have the right mindset? And think about any job. Think about any job that you've ever had or different people on the job. If you approach any job, and you have a mindset with the right mindset, one, and then the right actions behind it, right? This person is doing the work to become better at whatever it is that they're doing, and they have the right mindset. If you think about any job, would you not be successful in any job? If you just had those two things, the right mindset and the action, what wouldn't we be successful at? Think about the things in our lives where we've had the right mindset and we've actually done the work and put the work in from the action side. When has it not worked out for us? Let's keep it moving. Hold on. We're going to go back to my dog. I think there was one more scripture that he referenced.
Telling you, the manual is there.
Yeah.
Philippians 4:6. This is my favorite. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God.
Right? I'm gonna go back a second. Let me get rid of these closed captions. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your request to God. Is that the same one that I had over here? Be careful for nothing, but in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God. Don't be walking on eggshells. That's how I interpret that. Don't be scared. Don't be fearful. And this may be a bigger conversation because even there's certain things where I was reading in different faiths when we talk about the light, God within us. Michael Bear was talking about something, and I don't want to screw it up, but he was saying how God is closer to us than our vagus nerve, that a certain faith believes that. I'm not even sure which one that it was pertaining to, but it's just the same thought that, God is within us. So if we truly believe that we are godly beings and capable to do anything, right? Because I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, right? If you really believe these things, how can we fail? And think about all of the other things in our lives that we operate solely based on fear, and how we're controlled and how we have terrible outcomes. When we rely on fear, that's what makes us want to watch the news all day. That's what makes us want to engage in something that we know is not going to make us feel good. Like, nobody expects to turn on the news and say, I'm going to feel good today. This is going to make me feel good. No, we don't expect that. You expect to go to the beach and say that. You expect to go on vacation and feel stuff like that. The things that we're doing the majority of the time, the information that we're consuming the majority of the time, we're not even asking ourselves, how is this going to make me feel? Is this going to make me have a better outlook on life? Or is this going to scar me in a particular way of how I'm looking at life? We have to ask ourselves these questions, because they should dictate how in our lives, if we're taking those audits that we talked about earlier and being real with ourselves about how the things that we're consuming are impacting us one way or another, we have to be able to pivot away from certain things that are feeding us with negativity rather than positivity, because those are the things that are shaping the majority of our lives. So when we go back to that concept of fear, what has fear allowed us? What is fear done between when you think about Israel and Palestine? Now, some people will say, well, that's BS fear. But fear, I don't know. Fear justifies us doing a whole lot of ungodly things and justifying it based on, well, if we didn't do these ungodly things, then they would have done ungodly things to us. So now we're just competing on ungodliness and what's justified based on the fears that have been created in us. So then it's just a reoccurring cycle of negativity. It's the world that we live in right now. Excuse me. I'm almost over it. Whatever this was, I'm almost over it. And Mama Lay said she was dealing with it too. But yeah, fear. If somebody is using fear to control us, it's typically, I doubt that it's moving us in a positive direction. It usually just tends us to move into what that person who's using fear to try to dictate our actions, they're just trying to get us to accept that whatever direction they're pushing us in is the lesser of the lesser of the evils of whatever we're deciding between. Think about it. In all the situations where fear is the driving force to emotionally engage us to going along with one particular direction or another, it's largely based on, well, yeah, these two things both may be evil, but at least this is the lesser of two evils. That's where fear drives us, to accept the lesser of two evils rather than to just sit back and say, yeah, I'm just not accepting either. You're not going to fear bait me into accepting some form of evil because you've convinced me or you've created a system to only give me options of evil. Nah, I'm just going to not engage. Yeah, I'm not gonna participate. And when nobody participates, we'll see how their power drains. That's really for the people by the people. When we're prioritizing our power rather than being led based on fear, which only empowers the people that have created these evil options for us to choose between. So that's how I'm looking at it. So let's real quick. So did we go over Philippians? Yeah, we already went over that one. All right. So let me get to my notes real quick. Let me go to my notes real quick. We want to watch a couple more minutes of Michael Bear. That's really all I wanted you guys to see. But go check out his videos. I just subscribed to his page. He's got a lot of dope stuff on there. That's what I'm gonna leave y'all with. And you know what? Before we get into our affirmations, because we're gonna do a guided meditation. So before we get into our affirmations, I want to bring up there's a song by Burna Boy. I guess it would be good if I knew the song, right? I had it on my mind. Hold on. Burna Boy. I'm not gonna play the song because y'all know. We can't. It's called Born Winner. If you listen to the beginning of Burna Boy's song, Born Winner, there's an elder talking, and it seems like a pretty wise man, very wise man. And he's talking about how, we should never doubt ourselves. We should only speak to ourselves. He's talking about affirmations, like how we speak to ourselves should reflect exactly how God speaks of us. Never speak to ourselves, never downplay ourselves, never say we're less than or any other words that would describe us as less than, and never accept being less than, and never accept having a limited capability of achieving certain things. And that's what all this is about. No, we're positive. We know what we can achieve. We know what the outcomes will be if we take care of our actions and our alignment. So be very careful in how we speak to ourselves and how we think of ourselves, because when we're stressed out and anxious, that's a very limited way of looking at ourselves. That's us telling ourselves like, yeah, you're less than. Like, I don't believe in you. Why would I believe in you? Think as if God is speaking to you. Speak to, we heard Terrence Howard say this a while ago on one of his videos. He makes sure that he always sees the God in somebody else and makes sure that they see the God in him. So when he's speaking to somebody else, he's speaking to the God in them. So we should speak to the God in ourselves as well. All right. And I'm sure that that will change and shift the energy of not only our lives, but the people around us as well. So let's, whatever we got, big bro. Whenever you're going to change something, you've got to work from the inside out. That is a fact. Shout out to Brother Malcolm. Brother Malcolm's birthday's coming up. Brother Malcolm's birthday's coming up. El Hajj. Shout out to El Hajj. Let's get into, all right, so we're going to just do an affirmation and then we're going to get out of here, and I'll see y'all tomorrow after that. But of course, we got the affirmation. So hold on. We still have, I think we've done 5 of our I am guided meditation. And I think I definitely got to put one out today and put one out maybe tomorrow as well. But let me get to those. Let me pull that up on the screen. We're going to do, did we already do I am wealth? We'll do either I am wealth or, oh my God, I use the same. I'm over here just realizing that I use the same. I realized that I used the wrong thumbnail. It's all good. It's all good. All right, maybe that means that I should focus on this one. All right, let's focus on some consistency. Let's focus on consistency. This is more of a upbeat guided meditation, the beat and everything. So let me share the screen. Is this it? So we're just gonna go through the video. This is about being consistent. And yeah, you guys can keep your eyes open. Well, they'll give all the directions in the video. I'll just put the video on. They'll give all the directions. Welcome to the 5th installment of our I Am Guided Meditation series. Today we'll be focusing on consistency. Consistency. The theme is daily execution, showing up, building momentum, and then repeating. Welcome to I Am Consistent. Let's begin by getting ourselves in a comfortable position. Whether you're sitting up, lying down, whatever it is that allows you to remain intentional throughout this entire meditation. You can feel free to close your eyes or leave them open. I'll be closing my eyes. And we're going to begin by focusing on our breath. So let's initially just take a deep breath through our nose and then let it out slowly. A deep breath through our nose and let it out slowly. One more deep breath through our nose and then let it out slowly. This is where we slow everything down and remind ourselves, as always, that while we're in this space, there's nothing else that we need to do. There's nowhere else we need to be. This is our time to lock in, not just for today, but planting the seeds to lock in for the long term. So we'll take a few more breaths, inhaling slow and controlled, and then exhaling fully. Inhaling slow and controlled, and then exhaling fully. Inhale, release. We control our breath, and when we control our breath, we control our state. And when we control our state, we show up the way that we need to show up every single day. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. Most people fail because they lack consistency. They start, they stop, they restart, they lose momentum, and without momentum, nothing builds. You see, consistency, it's not about being perfect. It's about showing up, even when we don't feel like it, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's no longer exciting for us. Because results don't come from what we do once. They come from what we do repeatedly. So right now, we shift from motivation to commitment, from starting to finishing. Now let's take some time to get into our I am consistency affirmations. I'm going to read slow, and then feel free to repeat after me, either out loud or to yourself, or whatever combination works best for you. I am consistent. I show up every day. I do what needs to be done, whether I feel like it or not. I do not rely on motivation. I rely on discipline. I follow through. I finish what I start. I build momentum daily. And I understand that small actions repeated create big results. I am patient, but I do not stay still. I take action daily. I move forward daily. I improve daily. I am committed to my process. I am committed to my growth. I am committed to becoming better. I do not start over. I continue. I keep going. I stay locked in. I stay focused. I stay disciplined. I am building something that takes time. And I respect the process. I trust my consistency because I know it produces results. I am reliable. I am steady. I am disciplined in my actions. I am consistent in my effort. And my effort creates results. Now, this is the point where you visualize everything it is that you will bring to fruition, everything that you will manifest, everything that you will deliberately create. See it. See the version of you who shows up every single day with no excuses, no inconsistency, just steady progress. You're not rushing. You're not stopping. You're moving consistently. And because of that, everything is building. Your confidence is stronger. Your results are growing. Your life is changing. Not because of one big moment, but because of daily execution. Feel it. Expect it. Know it. That steady progress, that control, that momentum, that's what consistency creates. And that's who you are becoming. So let's take a deep breath in and let it out slowly. Another breath in and then let it out slowly. Remind yourself throughout the day of exactly who and what you are becoming. Remind yourself throughout the day of the declaration that you're making, not only to the universe to invite the right energy and opportunities back your way, but most importantly, to declare it to yourself. Now, as you bring your awareness back to your body, back to where you are, understand this. You don't need to do everything. You just need to keep showing up. Consistency is what separates ideas from results, plans from execution, potential from reality. So when you're ready, open your eyes and show up. And if you need a reminder throughout the day, then just repeat to yourself exactly what you know that you already are. I am consistent. I am consistent. I am consistent. All right, all right, all right. It's already a great day. I was gonna say it's gonna be a great day, but it's already a great day. Y'all know what we come here to do. Elevate on purpose. Shout out to Alex in the building. What was the guy name that was talking? Oh, David Bear. Shy. I don't know. Oh yeah. Of course, Big Bro Finn already handled that. Yeah. Um, y'all know what we come here to do, man. Just being more positive and understanding the ability that we possess and understanding how, like, what's already within us that can help bring about the life that we want for ourselves. You know, a lot of people are struggling right now, and I think that the struggle, although it manifests or the way that we see it, is usually at the end of the spectrum or the result, rather than understanding the true struggle and the true challenge of just controlling our thoughts, controlling our outlook on life, understanding the ability that we possess, the understanding, like bringing more internal focus, as Big Bro Finn brought up with the Malcolm X quote, that any change is going to start within. So, man. Always appreciate y'all. Oh, man, I love y'all, man. Let's strength and honor, onward and upward. Let's get to that bag. You know, let's focus on the things that we can internally, you know, that let that be the personal legend focus for today. We always talk about the personal legend as far as it pertains to the impact that it has on the rest of the world, but let's focus on our world. Let's focus on our world. Appreciate you, big bro. Appreciate you as always. Let's focus on our world. And I think that I know will largely dictate the outcomes of our reality. So when I say what's in your bag, what are the things that you're going to focus on within your world? Within your world, the things that I'm gonna focus on: peace, love, happiness, health, wealth, and everything we do, integrity, and always got to have that sprinkle of perspective on there. We should feel empowered. We should feel great. Like let's challenge ourselves of who can have the most positive outlook. You know what I mean? Instead of, let's start moving in that competitive spirit within ourselves. How can I be more positive about life today than I was yesterday? And I know that's going to shift things for us. I know that's going to shift things for us. So, um, man, shout out to Joy in the building. Appreciate that, Joy. Appreciate you, Joy. We're gonna keep putting out the guided meditations. It's dope. And feel free. Y'all should maybe even consider writing a small guided, or it doesn't have to be small, but even if you want to start off, whatever length, having your own guided meditation. It's dope. Just think about, how this initially started was us just coming on here and me just talking us through the guided meditation, or listening to somebody else's guided meditation. But a lot of times we can put on our own, calming music and just have conversations with ourselves. Really just declare the things that we already know that we are, but declare them during that time. And I think what it'll end up doing is like one dot connecting to another dot. Oh, I am this. Oh, I'm also this. because I'm this, I create this. I look at life like, you know what I mean? That's just kind of how it builds up. So appreciate all y'all. Y'all know what it is, man. Let's finish off with some wise words that Big Bro Finn has given us via, I should say, Big Bro Finn, some wise words of Booker T, which is success is to be measured not so much by the position that one has reached in life as by the obstacles which he has overcome. So let's welcome those challenges, right? We were talking about this the other day. You know, you learn a lot about yourself and you get to almost show more about who you are to yourself and maybe to the rest of the world when you go through challenges. So I love that. Educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. Aristotle. So shout out to you, Bubbles. Shout out to you, Joy. I've been meaning to do my own. That motivated me to do it. Do it, Joy. And whenever you're comfortable letting us hear it, I'd love to play it on the show. Or if you never want it, if it's just for you, that's dope too. That's the dope thing about it. So y'all have an amazing day, man. Love y'all and appreciate y'all. And I'll see y'all tomorrow at 8 a.m. You.